All right, can we get a mic check 1 2?
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
All right, I see it moving, so I'm hoping everybody can hear us. So, everybody,
I
thank you for being here today.
I see audio.
Yep. As always, this is the Bearthoughts podcast. We do every Friday at 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. For those who want to catch us live, catch us here on YouTube or on the Bearthoughts channel on Twitch or everywhere else on the all the other platforms. I didn't change it over on Kick, but Kick is what it is. What it is. I'm just letting that thing be just free place. So if anybody would discuss me there, I hope you have a good time following me. Hope you enjoy watching, and please join in the conversation. So today we have a couple things on the market here, but let's just go ahead and just say, Corvo, glad to see you're back. Glad you're doing well. We did not know D&D stream yesterday, but the D&D stream should be still going on this Sunday, so you want to catch up with that. But we had some good bit of time yesterday. I did a thumbnail, or not a thumbnail. I did a logo. You made a character. We talked about our feelings of D&D and how it's going, and how we feeling as a new players and as a returning player, not from a DM point of view, just pretty much from us. But Corvo does have some experience, so some of those things did come about. So if you want to watch that, go watch that. It should be on my YouTube channel and should be in the live section, and it should have the Bearthoughts logo with the D&D sunglasses on top of it. So that was really easy thumbnail to make.
FYI, we still have a title of D&D chatting on YouTube.
On YouTube? Oh, okay. Well, I'll fix that right now. Boy, oh boy, I love having, putting a title in something and then going, you know what? I'm not going to give you that title. You're not allowed to have that title. Okay. All right. And it has now been changed. Make sure I'm right episode. Okay. All right. So, today we have a few things discussing, but let's get to the first thing. Why were you gone last week? So, just so everybody knows what you were up to
So
doing.
we took last weekend and went and did some scalloping and crabbing with the kids. We drove down Friday after work. Yep. Stealthy gives us the thumb up on the audio.
All right.
And so we got down there Friday afternoon after work, set everything up at the camp zone. Saturday we went out and dropped crab traps as we went out to go do our scalloping.
Yeah.
Spent some time in the water, floating and looking for scallops. Probably collected close to a bucket, but due to more strict rules this year on how big they had to be to keep them,
Yeah.
we ended up with somewhere between 1/3 and a half bucket.
Okay.
Brought those back, cleaned them, bagged them up, went back to the camp zone. Stealthy took a nap for a little bit, and then when she woke up to eat, me and the children decided that it was time for us to pass out for a while.
So which one jumped in the water with you? Which one, the kids?
All of them, both of them.
So they went scalping too, or they just jump in the water?
Soren, I'm sorry, Crimson tried really hard to find scallops. He did get a couple, right. He did pull up a couple. And some of them were keepers, some of them wasn't. Sub-Zero, when we were in the places where he could stand up, was totally happy because he just walked around the boat and hung out and would look down, and if he seen one, he would flag one of us over to come get it and stuff like that. But after our nap, we got woke up from our nap by Stealthy saying, "Hey guys, y'all might want to go take a shower." You might want to go take a shower, then you could go back to sleep. So we all took a shower after bitching, and then we crashed out for the night. And the next day, I got up, and while the kids and Stealthy started getting our stuff back into the Jeep, I went with the captain and checked the crab traps, and we got 2 nice sized blue crabs. So that was a plus.
That's a nice little eating right there. I heard you had some ratchet people around you that Stealthy was telling me. This is like, these ratchet people are annoying.
God. So the first night we're there, the rule at the campsite is at 10 o'clock it's silent.
Okay.
No noise after 10 because people are trying to sleep and stuff, which is fair.
Yeah.
Well, at about 10:15, we're laying there trying to go to sleep, and suddenly we hear because somebody decided to finally get there, back their camper in, and start leveling their camper up.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of hand cranking it like, most people do, they brought a battery powered fucking impact gun with a socket because they didn't want to hand crank it. And all like until like 12 in the morning, we're hearing that sound
Yeah.
all night. Um, Apparently the lady that runs the place gave them a pass on the fact that it was after 10 o'clock because apparently they had vehicle troubles and stopped to eat on the
Yeah.
way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a loud night that first night. Now the second night, I ain't hear shit. Ain't nothing. Nobody made a peep. But that first night, it was loud as shit though. We got home. We got home, come inside, and chilled out. The kids blessed the air conditioner gods for still being in existence. And one of the things I exposed my kids to from back when I used to camp a lot when I was younger is, have you ever had to keep a tent cool when you were camping in the summer, Grumpy?
Did I ever keep it cool?
Did-
Usually when we went camping for when I was younger, we either camped just around fall, so it would be cool in a tent, or sometimes even winter. Like we never really went to the summer because none of us wanted to be out in the heat.
Okay, so there is a trick to keeping a tent cool
Mm-hmm.
in the summer. You got two options. One is a expensive option from out of pocket to begin with, which is basically you buy one of those little units you have sitting behind you there,
Uh-huh.
and you plug it in at the campsite and set it inside your tent.
Okay.
The other option is what we used to do is you take a box fan
All right.
and a cooler of ice, and you fill up that cooler of ice at night, and you lay your box fan on top of it, and you kick it on. And what it does is draw the air through the ice and cools the air in the tent.
Oh yeah. That sounds pretty smart. Okay.
So the downside is though is that twilight hour, the coldest hour there is in every day.
Yes.
Yeah, when it hits that hour, if ice is still in that cooler, if it hadn't all melted, guess what happens? You freeze your ass off. It didn't matter if it's fucking summer or not. So both nights I awoke at a certain point where my lovely wife was like, "I'm fucking cold.
Mm-hmm.
Come here." I'm like, "Oh, okay, baby." I'm like, "I need more ice." Never mind. But now back when I was younger, I actually had built a cooler for this that was specifically made for this because I camped a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And essentially what we did is I had a styrofoam cooler,
Okay.
cheap styrofoam cooler, and in the lid of that styrofoam cooler I cut two holes.
Okay.
One hole had a fan laying in it facing down into the ice. The other hole had a piece of PVC facing up.
All right. Yeah.
So when you turn the fan on, it blew air into the ice, through the ice, and back out the PVC. And essentially, you made a ice-powered air conditioner for your tent.
Mm-hmm.
And a box fan does a pretty good job. But if you really really want to get cool, and all you want to have to do is buy some ice occasionally throughout the day,
Yeah.
that is the way to go. It will get your ass cold, especially if it's a small tent. But yeah, they didn't know about that trick. Now they know about that trick. So the upside is if they're ever in a situation when they're older where their air conditioner at their house doesn't work or they're camping with their kids or something, now they know some tricks to stay cool.
Okay. Well, yeah, that would definitely be helping. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Glad that, the kids experience. I know normally y'all go by yourselves and you don't bring the kids along, so that was kind of nice for them to go experience it with y'all for once. And of course, camping with anybody or around anyone else is you're at the mercy of everyone around. You're not just the mercy of yourself. You can't just be out in the middle of the woods by
Right.
yourself, and especially if you go to
Now,
a camping ground, because
what I would like to have is what our captain had. He has a pop-up camper.
back of his truck.
So no, it's a pull behind pop-up camper. He pulls it up, backs it in, sets it up. It's got air conditioner sitting on top. Rock and roll, baby.
That's well, some people call that glamping, I think, right? Where you're like it's glamorous camping or something
No,
like that.
glamping is those big fuckers that take fifth wheels to pull around, or if it has a motor, you drive it.
Yeah.
This is not glamping. This is just a cool version of a tent that
Mm.
pops up behind you that has an air conditioner.
Yeah, okay,
It's not
gotcha.
glamping.
Wow.
But there was plenty of glampers out there, though. Believe me,
yeah.
there was
Bless you.
campers at this campsite.
Mm.
I would venture to say it's probably bigger than my house.
Oh boy. So yeah, I'd say for us it was sleeping bags, sleeping pads, the floor, and if it was really cold, and maybe a little fire outside the tent. But otherwise, we always camped during the colder climates of the years because we were fortunate to be smart enough to go and hey, let's do this right where at the time snakes shouldn't be snakes shouldn't be out, and it will be cold outside, so the inside of the tent won't be nice and steamy. Only problem is, the snakes were still out at one point, and we definitely saw them.
Yeah. See, for me, growing up, I camped year round.
Mm.
I didn't give a shit if it's hot, cold, whatever. If I decided I don't want to camp, I was going to camp. And that's
Yeah.
what I did.
We didn't have a lot of fun. Like we camped on the side of a very steep hillside one time. We definitely had some I don't forget the name. They're not wolves, but was it the kind of dogs that were around friendly? Coyotes. Yeah, we had coyotes outside of our tent one time. We had snakes outside of our tents. Like I said, I talked about that story before in the past. And it's never been really truly dangerous times. Apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently the whole mythos about bears hibernating for winter isn't totally founded on truth. And I didn't know that. I looked apparently a couple days ago. I was like, yeah, the whole bears hibernating in winter is not exactly true. They hibernate a little bit, not the entire season, which I didn't know. But
And
yeah,
it depends on the bear and their geographical location as to how long they hibernate. Too.
Yeah. Some of them could hibernate for a week or two and then be right back out. I'm like, wow, that's fun. Apparently Japan, even though I'd love to go there, apparently the bear attacks and bear killings are very frequent in certain areas of Japan. I would love to go there, but I don't want to meet a bear in real life. Of course, I saw this video just today, literally. A guy and his wife was standing next to their pet bear. And he's paws on his shoulders. A big old brown bear. Bear's on his head, licking him, and he's giving little snacks. And he's really oh, look at my puppy. I'm like, oh, hell no.
Well, that's like saying I want to go to Japan and go see the suicide forest, but I don't want to go see the suicide forest. Fuck that.
Well, I would I would go to the suicide forest. I just don't want to see the bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, not personally. I don't want to go be the person going, "Sumimasen, dead body," try to hey, dead person. We might want to get him down. Okay,
they're gonna look at you like you dumbass.
Yeah,
this is where people die. They come here to die.
Yeah, they go there to die. Apparently, there's so many roots there on the floor that people have been known to actually go there. That's why they say people don't go there because the roots around there are so thick and so vast. You can fall through through the roots into a big open cavern and be stuck there and just die. So it's not all about them going to kill themselves. Sometimes they go there and going, oh, look at this place, and yeet into the little rabbit hole and never be seen ever again. So
that explains so much about Alice.
Yeah, don't chase the white rabbit. I guess, right? So
yeah,
I think that would be again. I want to go back to Japan. I really do. But I would go there, but I just wouldn't go in there. Even though I'm saying there's a path you stay on, like a little bridge. Okay, well, I'm glad you had fun. Glad you got back safe. Y'all do this every year or so, and you go. To some point this year, you'll probably go back to Orlando and so forth. So, okay. So
Yeah,
you said,
that's coming in July. The week end of the 4th,
yeah.
we'll be down there. So I'll be doing podcast from the hotel.
Yeah, that whole thing. So, you said Stealthy had a topic for us this week.
Yeah, so she brought up something to me, and it's more of a discussion piece. So she made the comment that we're all they talk about solar panels and
Yeah.
how much land it takes to put up a decent solar panel farm.
Mm-hmm.
And she made the comment, and I think it's a valid point. You could kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
now, how many of us has went to a parking structure and parked, and your car's in the hottest fucking spot in that parking structure
Oh.
because there ain't no sun, there ain't no shade.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the top because that was the only place there was,
Oh.
or you're in that parking spot that just happens to be right next to the side that the sun's coming in on.
Yeah, yeah. And it just happened to be like you're
So
gonna be there for that
why
hours of it
not?
sun there.
Why not put up solar panels
Mm-hmm.
down the sides of them and up on like lamp poles at the top and create shade for the cars, but gather solar energy.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think about it, there's parking structures all over the damn country. It ain't
Yeah.
like there's not enough parking structure to put solar panels on.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of to me, that's kind of a good idea. You're using already established facilities, you're
Mm-hmm.
creating shade for those facilities, and gathering sunlight for the solar power from those facilities.
Yes.
So, what do you think about it?
Okay. So for one thing, not everybody always, like, just be honest here. Some people just don't believe in solar panels. I do. Like, right there is some positive income, even if it's not as much as you may initially think at the start. Kind of like anything, like it's kind of crypto. You start into it, you don't make a lot of money, but after a long period of time, you start making an investment, right, or start getting some income. And it's one of the things a lot of companies don't want to pay that upfront cost to start making income later on, or they don't want to
Right.
clean it, right? Because there's a time that you have to clean those things. So how ease of cleaning those things, how much it costs to get people to come out and clean all the solar panels. I think it's going to be better in the long run if places like that are not just used for a power. There's shade, right? You can have shading. There's coverage. There's a if you really wanted to, if you be really crafty, use them as a way of catching rainwater if you're allowed to do that in certain states. I think there's just a lot of uses for them. Not just it's collecting power, but it's just when life
Well,
happens and thunderstorms or disasters happens, you still have some way of getting power as long as you have that solar panel.
and see, the thing about it is to negate some of the cost that you're talking about.
Mm,
Some of these large energy companies, consortiums
yeah.
that pay hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars for big stretches of land to try to put all these panels on could literally say, you know what, instead of buying all this land, let's do a contract with this number of parking structures
Hmm.
and we'll just put our shit there. Because then it's not costing the people with the parking structures money,
Yeah.
and it's not costing the people with the panels money for land. It's definitely cheaper to do a contract to use an already built structure than it is to buy a huge plot of land.
Yes.
So everybody's win-winning on a little bit of the money situation. And now you're creating shade and you're gathering power. And like you said, if you go between the solar panels and you connect some ducting or some flexible ducting or something that would gather rainwater and drop it into a filtration system, well, hell, now you're killing multiple birds with one stone, and it could be a positive thing.
Yeah.
I think it could be. I think the biggest difficulty it would face is somebody figuring out all the logistics to make it work.
Hmm.
But as far as cleaning them, I know not far from where we are, there's a couple of solar panel farms, and I know for a fact those solar panels have motors on them that tilt them and follow the sun.
Yes.
They also have manual overrides that allow the people that clean those panels to go out to a row, hit a button, and have them tilt to one side straight up and down where they can go along and clean the shit out of them. So
Hmm.
the difficulty of cleaning them doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah.
It's all about the installation.
And it's also a way of giving job opportunities or a job to
Right.
people, like anything to help, but at the same time ensure people some work. We as a society are moving more and more toward self sufficiency and less of us human involvement in job things. But stuff like this can be the same side where it can still be, hey, less people need to do the job, but someone still can have a job, right? Don't always
Right.
just seek out removing someone's work. Seek out how to give someone a job.
How do we transition them from this to this?
Yeah, it's like this always must be a job for a human because we naturally as humans we want to be working naturally, even though we still have us say, oh my god, I don't want to go to work. If you're just sitting at home like me, sometimes I just want to get up and do something. Like I just
I'll
can't.
trade with you when you want to trade. I'll give you a week of my job and I'll do yours.
Yeah. But problems you don't get paid very much, and then you're sitting here just doing nothing for a long time. And eventually, you start getting bored. Like, okay, I gotta do something. Gotta be helpful somehow. Gotta be out and about. It gets me really, really easily. My wife's like, why don't you just tell me what to do, honey? Just tell me what you want me to do. Just tell me. I'll go do it. I don't care. Because I don't know. I get even with the streaming. I just want to do something sometimes. And then, of course, the other day, I started having some breathing problems. And my wife's like, yeah, this is why I don't want you to go out and get another job just yet. I'm like, why? Like, you can barely breathe right now. I'm like, yeah. And it just hit me just randomly. I had an asthma attack. It just fucking
Yep.
happens.
I get that look every time I catch one of my migraines. My wife looks at me like, "You son of a bitch! If I could make what you make, you'd be at the house." I get the look like, "You fucker," and I'm like, What?"
I didn't do nothing. I was just standing there. It was literally like last week after the podcast, or not after the podcast, after the D&D stream. We went out, and I think it was that exact day that I did a little hand thing. I was in the vehicle, and we were driving back home, and I just stopped for a second, and I was just like trying to catch air, and my wife's like, it's like what? So, anyways, nothing about medical problems, but yeah, I try to make money where I can, and when I do make money, it's not a lot, but it definitely helps. That's why I even say everybody has my sponsors. Please support my sponsors. This is one way you can help me and my family, and at the same time help me feel like I'm actually doing something. I'm not begging. I'm just asking. So
Give him
okay,
a purpose. It's real easy.
yeah, give me something to do. So okay, let's jump into the next scene. So the speaking of money and needing it, which by the way, I so want solar panels someday. Whenever I get the money, there's gonna be some solar panels in my backyard, guarantee. It's like I've been wanting to do it. If I could, I would put my whole house, my whole roof with solar panels because I want clean energy in a sense of I don't have to pay someone else for it. I just give it, right? But okay, speaking of hobbies, and 3D printing is one of those things me and you doing. And I was talking to Dragon. Apparently, he does have a 3D printer, but he doesn't very much get around to doing a lot of it. And he's just trying to see if his printers can print those models out that I sent him. But he's gonna see if he can. If he can't, resin printers are here to save the day because, well, they're a lot cleaner. But spool printers are still really good. I'm not
Yep,
bashing.
I use my spool printer primary for something that's going to be utilitarian.
Yeah.
Like if it's a light base or something like that, I prefer to make my light bases
Mhm.
on my spool printer because they can withstand more
Yeah.
abuse.
Yes. And they have a little sturdiness to it. While resin's a little snappy. To put the better words. But okay, so I saw this video and I sent it to you a couple weeks back, but you just checked it out. This is from a 3D printing nerd. If you guys want to watch the video of it, it's on YouTube. Look up 3D printing nerd. Make sure yeah, 3D printing nerd, and it's called the Next Generation 3D Printing. Has a bowling ball with a skull inside of it, and this printer is not like any other printers me and Corvo currently have in our day. In a sense where for those who maybe know anything about printers, the old school printers used to be put down a layer of this fine powder, and then they will heat up that.
Hold on.
Mm,
Okay. Go ahead. I was talking to him.
okay.
Go ahead.
It used to like warm up certain areas of the powder to attach it to the next layer and the next layer of this powder, and the powder itself was also the support of the of this print that they were doing. Now, this new generation of print is it's still like a printer, but like in more in a traditional sense, where it prints a layer of resin and cures that layer of resin. And on the outside of it, it's like this waxy, clear, semi-transparent white stuff that you just wash off. And the cool thing about this is they're starting to work on these printers where they can actually start putting resin print down that is of color, and of color, but also of being matte or being glossy. And these are full size prints, full items, all one piece, right? But all of it's colored, like each part hair color, horn color, leg skin, like all of it's colored, and there's no needing to paint the whole entire print at all. And it's becoming more I can't say it's available just yet. It's still kind of in the what was it, commercial line of business. It's not,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, it's still commercial. It's not residential yet.
yeah. So how long do you think it'll be until this kind of printer is residential? Like me and you can spend $500 or $300 and just go buy one.
I don't know if we'll be spending 500 or 300, but I would say you could probably start seeing them in about 5 to 6 years available to residential people.
Hmm.
But I'm thinking you're still going to be looking at like a $1,200 earmark on
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Well, that's a little. Eh, I could see that in the sense of how cool it is. Like, yeah, that sounds awesome. But then again, I kind of thought the same thing when it came to regular printers, the spool printers. When I first saw them back in like this was probably like 10 years ago, maybe even 12 years ago. I first saw my first spool printer, and back then they were like 800, close to $1,000 for these small spool printers. And over the like next 3 or 4 years, they got bigger and bigger and bigger, and they got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So I'm hoping it follows that same bell curve because, well, you know, normal person like me and you, maybe not you as much, but for me, I can't spend $1,000 on something like that. So I would have to wait until another year or two later until they brought it down to the $300, $400 until I can actually like, okay, well, I can save up with that. I can save up for that. But I just while it's cool for um a company to do that, because then they can start making finished products to show their customers, or a
Yeah,
finished product to
right
show.
out the gate, they don't have to wait.
Yeah, they can show them what it looks like, what the model will look like, what color will look like. It's one thing for that, but another at the same side of the coin, as you well know, I'm a bit of a collector of 3D or not 3D, anime figurines. Would this put a companies like that in danger if you can 3D print a fully
It
colored model?
it could, but at the same time, you have to keep in mind there's also a lot of people out there that are still going to be lazy and say, "Fuck that! I don't want to do it myself. I want to buy it. It's cheap. It's easier."
Hmm.
So
Buying one time cost and then buying a machine and then doing it yourself, and then
right,
would probably be longer trip. Yeah, well,
right. I think the people that would be doing this for themselves would be people that are just highly interested in printing their own stuff and
mm,
creating their own stuff, versus people that um they're just like, I want the figurine. That's all I care about. I don't care how they made it. I just want the damn figurine. You got both sides. So they'll lose a little business from people that are like me and you that are creative that want to do it ourselves and stuff. But then they're not going to lose all of it because you're always going to have those people that are like, "Fuck that! I won't. I just want to buy it. I don't want to do it."
Yeah, I'm gonna get my.
Because I mean, think about it like this. Think about it like a car. You could have all the knowledge in the world to build a car yourself, but do you wanna? Do you wanna go through that effort, or would you just rather
Mm.
go to the fucking car lot and buy it?
Yeah, I'd rather just go and just buy it.
Right.
You know, it's depending on how talented I am, how smart I am, how ingenuitive I am. Um, but you know, when the printer can do mostly all the work, and all you need to do is buy the models. Like to me, okay, this is how I foresee it. And this is just you can everybody wants to watch this VOD back in the next 2 or 3 years. Call me out on this, but I think it will come out eventually to residential. They'll try to hit the mark of $500 to $300 because that's a good marketplace for regular printers right now. And when they do release it, and do release it in color, it will go. That would may come out to be, but the prints, the STL files themselves will start going up in price because
I can see that.
now the models are not just, hey, we need to give you the model, the STL, the grayscale model. Now we got to color these things and send that colored model to you. So when you go to print it, the print will print the model in the colors from which we've already painted for you in the programs themselves. And I see the price of 3D STLs going up. Like
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
that. And it's like,
And that's
hey,
a good way. And another thing is like you can go to these companies that make these figurines now, and they can turn this to a positive for them and say, okay, you can buy an already finished product from us, or you can buy the STL file already created for you
mm-hmm,
from us.
yeah. Oh man. Okay, imagine like sometimes you buy a game, you get a digital version too. Imagine buying a 3D a model online, and they give you an option. You want 3D STL or the 3D model itself? And you're going, oh boy, just I can print it myself or just buy it. If I just buy it, you get a free STL maybe with it, right? Or something like that. Like, okay, I'll buy the STL. I get it right now instead of like a digital game, right? It's like physical
Right.
game or digital game. I'll buy the digital and I'll print it myself. But if I want the physical, I'll just buy it and have it shipped to me. But that'll be a little bit more cost premium. I
Right.
could see that happening too. That would be interesting. But again, it would still give people jobs. So it would be that thing like people saying, like kind of like the whole everybody's losing their jobs for like, oh yeah, that's actually that topic. Other topic I want to talk about. I just not remember that. There's actually 2 topics I want to talk about. Wow. Okay. But yeah, it's giving people jobs and not feel like they're the things that they learned over years being to waste, and at the same time being self-efficient. You know, like I said before, being self-efficient. I like 3D models, but I'm okay printing them myself and painting them myself, which I think I did a fairly good job on the 4 or 5 I have back there that are actually printed. You wouldn't be able to tell them at the glance. Get close enough, you might be able to tell. Like, yeah, that's printed.
Yeah. Right.
Because
Right.
the paint job's not as good, not as pretty. Okay. So you had a topic, right? You had something you want to chat about? Because you said you had something.
So yeah. So along the lines, how do you feel about the announcement that they're going to make a Legend of Zelda game where you play as Zelda and not Link?
I literally, not even joking you, the night before Nintendo Direct said and stated, I believe they should release a game with Zelda. Because my wife brought up the fact that, like, that my wife's like, I love Zelda, the game, but at some point they need to kill Ganon. Like, just like end it, right? Let's have the ending here. And I stated to my wife, they need to make a game with Zelda. And my reason for why it is because I have a theory, which I think other people agree with me, this theory, because I've seen videos on it afterwards too, that Zelda is the only one that actually can kill Ganondorf. Like, actually kill him for good. You know why Link can never kill Ganondorf?
Why?
Yeah, do you know why? Why he never can
Well,
truly kill him?
I mean, because the piece that he's supposed to be based off of his powers off of his power.
Yes.
So he's always going to resurrect in some form some way, somehow,
hmm
the only way to kill him completely would be he would have to be completely engulfed in light.
Yeah, okay. So, the first Ganondorf, the first ever that fought the first Link ever, put a curse on Link. For forever there is a Link, I will
There's
be
a
reborn. I will
Right.
be so for wherever there's a Link, I will be reborn, and we will be in constant struggle. There's more lines to it,
Right.
meaning
Right.
forever and ever, Ganondorf and Link will be made to fight.
Yeah.
And if
As
any,
long as there's one, there's the other.
yes. So in order way to break that line is because they must be always in conflict. They must be always fighting. So my theory is, if Link does not kill Ganondorf, but someone else kills Ganondorf, that cuts the line, because they must always fight each other.
I can see that. I can see that.
So my thought is, if we have Zelda herself kill Ganondorf, the reincarnation of him, it will break the line, and because she can hurt Ganondorf. We've already seen it before. Her arrows in Ocarina of Time hurt Ganondorf real bad. Her arrows in Breath of the Wild killed his essence in that thing in Breath of the Wild, the first game. So she has powers that can hurt Ganondorf, and therefore, ergo, you can literally kill Ganondorf with just her arrows in either of the games. So why does Link need the Master Sword? And on top of that, if the sword is the only way to kill Ganondorf, we've already seen Zelda in Breath of the Wild carrying Link's sword. So she can hold it. So therefore, she can swing it. So all we need is for her to kill Ganondorf with either or, and there we go. Game's over, and they can finally get together. Goodness gracious, they need to get together.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. What?
Does she have a theory?
Oh.
Mm.
She's saying that won't work.
Why?
Because if you sever the tie by killing one, you kill the other. No more Link. And Zelda's never going to go without Link.
Well, maybe they'll stop being reincarnated. I'm sorry, if I've been reincarnated for thousands of years, cut my line, bro. Let me go. I think I've done my good deeds. Of course, Japan believes in reincarnation, so reincarnation over and over again.
Find a way to sever the link properly before they can kill him. And
Yeah.
even then, there's a possibility that he does some backhanded shit and does it anyway.
Yeah, finds a way around the rules, around the curse that he said on Link.
I mean, that's what he's Ganon.
Yeah. Another theory was I saw a couple, like, this is maybe a year ago, is if Ganon actually marries Zelda, and they have a offspring, and the offspring is Link. I'm like, wow, that's they get together.
I'll put it this way. The way that it starts is actually explained during the Skyward Sword.
Yeah. That was the first one, right?
Skyward Sword is supposed to be. Skyward Sword essentially is supposed to be the very first time all this shit goes down.
Yeah, like the first Link was born.
And like it's supposed to be prior. It's supposed to be prior to the original Link.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be
beginning, but it's the beginning of the first.
Yeah, and he's not really fighting like he's not really fighting the person Ganondorf. He's fighting the essence of power, or the god of power, or something like that. And then that god of power is reborn as
Demise.
Yeah, Demise, and he's reborn as Ganon. Which my wife was like, "Where is Breath of the Wild?" And like, I don't know where Breath of the Wild is. So it's like we looked at some charts and like, yeah, it's supposed to be right around here, because the timelines and the 3 splits, and it's really complicated. But yeah, I'm thinking that the new game with Zelda, she may not find Ganon, because like the trailer just showed Ganon getting killed by Link, and then Link going woo 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 woo. Now she's like, I don't know what she's fighting. I don't know what she's fighting at all, but I'm glad we're finally playing as her. I'm not doing this as a, you know.
Maybe it's one of those arcs like he kills Ganondorf finally,
Mhm.
but in doing so he kills himself, and she goes on a quest to bring him back.
Yeah, like again, I don't want to be like empowering or pandering or anything like that. I've been wanting to play as Zelda for a while because we never know her side of the story ever, right? And she's not like, especially in Ocarina of Time. My wife read the book in Ocarina of Time. I'm like, Zelda was trained by one of the most badass ninjas in the entire season in Ocarina of Time.
Impa, yeah.
Pippa. So I'm like, she turned into, like, I want to know that side of the story. I want to
She was
see,
Sheik.
yeah.
She became Sheik.
And Sheik was no pushover. So like, I just want to see that side of the story. Like, just I want to see the other side of the coin, right? I want to see the full story. I want to see this full scale, what they went through, how they survived, and how they managed to evade Ganon for all these years. That kind of story is compelling. It's not always about just the hero's end, but this could be also be about the hero's journey. I'm okay with the hero's journey, right? I think most people are okay with the hero's journey. And that to me, it's just, I'm glad they're finally doing it, even though it won't be my theory of her fighting Ganondorf. I was hoping, not gonna lie, when Tears of the Kingdom came out, and I was like thinking, okay, maybe now there'd be a multiplayer. One can play Link, one can play Zelda, and they can go on an adventure. I was like, yes, please let that be the thing. And I was disappointed. It's like, God.
Yeah, well, I
dang it.
mean, you kind of get that when you do the other game, the champions. The what was it called, baby? The one that had all the champions in it.
Oh, I had that
Where
one.
you
I
could
had that
play
one. I had that one. I know what you're talking about.
the Age of Calamity,
Yeah,
where you
like the Dynasty
well,
Warriors version
because
of it.
you played as Zelda, you played as the champions, you played as Link, you played
Yeah.
as all of them now,
Yes.
and you could multiplayer it.
Yes. But I thought it was like a more of even though that game is in the timeline, I was talking about more on the traditional game Zelda, like you go out and on an adventure at a huge map and you go fight the same bosses together, the same dungeons together, which I hope the next one they come out with, like the actual next Breath of the Wild type kind of game, they do more dungeon diving, deep kind of old school dungeons, not these, I don't know what you even call these new kind of styles of dungeons, like the elephant and the giraffe or the camel. Like those were okay, but to me that they weren't as vast as the old traditional dungeons that I was so used to and beloved to me. I like the deep dive dungeons. But yeah, I'm glad they do
As
it.
long as they leave the fucking water one out, fuck the water dungeon.
Anytime there's a water one, just forget it. Okay, so they also released in that Nintendo Direct the teaser for Metro 4. Now,
Yeah,
I know you like
yeah,
Metroid.
yeah.
How excited are you? But then seeing they went 2024. Nope, 2025.
I was like, you fuckers. Them sons of bitches.
Literally the
Bastards.
same direct. They went 2024. 2025. It's like mother. But it looks good. First person shooter. It's interesting. I don't recognize the boss. Of course, he could be a new boss, new person to the franchise. Who this? But the gameplay has that feel of Metroid, especially from the the original. I think it was like what, the Wii U or not Wii U. The GameCube. The first one came out. I can't remember which one the first one came out.
That's not the first one, but yeah,
know,
that's the first one.
first person.
First person. Yes,
Yeah.
that was the first person.
Yeah. So are you glad they keep it to the first person, or you kind of
I
assume mine?
I have fond memories of the side scroller. I
Mhm.
do. I'm not gonna say that I don't, but
Yeah.
I do enjoy the first person shooter aspect of playing Samus.
Hmm.
I mean, because there's just something about being able to see that fucking cannon right
Yeah.
there in front of me.
I don't know why. When I saw the trailer, my brain went straight to Halo 1. I mean, my brain just went Halo 1. For some reason I know it's Metroid, but I was like, for some reason it felt like Halo. It felt like the traditional running around a map and then shooting bad guys and running to the next area. Normally you see a gun, but you just see the cannon. It felt like Halo, and that brought a little nostalgia to me right there. I know the couple months back, maybe a little more, they released the side scroller Metroid, and I heard it didn't do very well. And I wonder if that's why they went, okay, maybe we actually need to do a first person shooter, because like maybe people are just running out of interest, or no longer interested in side scroller Metroid game.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I love side scrollers if they're done well.
Mm,
But if you look at today's player base, you've given them first person shooting when it comes to something that you're shooting,
mm,
which is more immersive when it comes to shooting something. So, yeah, they're going to be more interested in a first person view shooter when it comes to something like Metroid, Halo, Destiny, or any of those, because they want to feel like it's them looking down the sights. Okay.
mm.
You don't get that on a side scroller.
Yeah.
However, that being said, there's still a charm to side scrollers.
Yeah, there is a charm to it, and for those who are older generation, it's nostalgia. But I know for people like, let's say, like my niece, she purposely, and I like, she's near dear to my heart. She purposely bought a Game Boy, the old school Game Boy, just so she could play the old school games. She really likes old school type of game, and she's like your kid's age. She's super young, but yet she's super into retro. And I'm
My
like,
kids,
Those are kids that grew up with gamer parents.
right? My kids do the same thing. Like they've got DSs and the whole. They play games all the time that are like top down view and side scroller and stuff, and they love it.
so there's still a call for it. It's just something about, I guess, the little bit older generation that they just didn't never know that graphics didn't make the game, but the game itself. I don't know,
Right.
but I still like it personally. I don't want it to ever go away or ever die. I just, at the same time, it's just so to me. I'm glad that they're listening to their player base and actually making games that they're asking, requesting, and not just constantly doing this reboot or this remaster or something like that. Sometimes just make a new game. It's also just as good. And people have been asking literally for, I think somebody said, over 5 years or maybe more, to make the next one. And apparently the game, Nintendo's canceled this version of Metroid like 8 or 9 times. Like canceled it, like just killed it. It's like, but you brought it back, but you killed it again. You brought it back and you killed it again. You brought it back and killed it again. Like, just make the game.
Right.
It's just, but speaking of game development, I do feel really bad for all the people that have been getting fired, all these game developer companies. And some people say that these companies made bad games, therefore their companies got canceled, like especially on Microsoft side. And a lot of people losing their jobs, which is sad to see people lose their jobs and wants to lose their job. But at the same time, if the market is saying your game is bad, can I really feel that bad for them?
Well, the question is though, is what market are they basing that on too?
Mm,
I mean, think about it. There's a shitload of people that would say games that we play are bad, but on the same aspect, we would say they're great.
mhm.
It depends on your market base and who you're looking at. And I stick to my guns when I say, when it comes to statistics and market values and like that, I
Don't believe it.
call bullshit
Mhm.
because it's all subjective.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you say, "Oh, I run the data and it said 78% of people dislike that game." Well, that means that there's X amount of people that do.
Mhm. And some people blame it on too many companies worrying about trying to make a live market game, a game that, even after you pay the box price of it, there's still an online store you can buy and pay and digital stuff, and they didn't make enough money, right? And then some people are, upset that the games are keep on doing certain, I'm gonna use the word again, pandering things, and people don't
Yep.
want to be pandered to. They don't. They're tired of it.
Yes.
They're tired of it. Just make a good game. Just make a good game. And if it sells good, whether or not it's online always or not, that should only should matter is if people are buying it and enjoying it. If people are not buying it, stop it. Get some help. And they say, no, we don't want this, and they show it, you might want to listen. I don't know. Is that a hard concept of people saying, I don't like that, and then you keep on doing it? It's like,
I can see that, but I can also see them saying, yeah, a large majority don't like it, but do you not give the smaller group what they want to? I mean, is that because at that point you're being exclusive.
Yeah.
You're taking that small portion and saying, no, I'm sorry, you're not big enough, so we're going with a large portion. And from a business standpoint, that makes sense.
Yes.
But from a consumer standpoint, now that small group feels alienated and isolated and basically not, they feel like you're saying they're not as important as the other group. Now you've pissed them off. So any subsequent game you may make in the future, even if they like it, they're not going to fucking buy it.
Yeah. So at that point, it becomes up to them trying to please their, what is those people that like back up your game, give you money? You know what I'm talking about? Like, I want to make something. Someone gives me money to support
Investors.
it. Investors. Yeah. It's up to their investors, and their investors saying, hey, you're not making me enough money. I don't care if that's a small group that likes that. The big group doesn't. So stop doing it. Make me money. Right? It's kind of like that. At that point, do you blame the investors, or you blame the big group of people that didn't like it at all? The larger
there is no true win-win.
Yeah.
There is no true win-win. I mean, business-wise, it makes sense to go with the larger group because that's where your larger pool of money is. But at the same time, if you're trying to make everybody that games in a whole happy and feel like that they're a part of it and that you actually care about their opinions, then you have to take into account that small minority as well. Because if you don't, you're stabbing yourself in the back and you just don't know it.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, it's like what I said yesterday. Not everything is meant for everybody.
Right.
That's okay.
Absolutely. I mean, not everybody likes D&D. I like it. You like it. I think Stealthy's enjoying it.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean you have to play it.
I gotta roll a D20. Hang on. Oh, fuck. I didn't pass.
So just because everybody's doing it doesn't mean you need to enjoy it, right? Like, just like if a large people are saying, hey, I'm enjoying this, and a small majority is going, I'm not, that's okay. That's okay, bro. You didn't have to enjoy it. There's other things you can go enjoy. It's like, hey, are you into cars or into fashion? Well, I like cars. So therefore I must be into fashion? No, I'm just not into it. It's not my thing. Okay, goodbye. I stick to the cars, thank you. That's just, it's okay to be one-sided and not to be, oh, I'm into cars, fashion, and all the rest of the stuff. Like, no, it's okay.
I'm getting threatened. My life is getting threatened.
And I think too many people are in that mindset. They have to be into everything. Like, anything's cool, you gotta be into it. No, you do not. You do not need to be into it. If it's cool, it's all right. Doesn't mean you need to be involved with it.
Right.
It doesn't. It just is something that's cool. It's like, rap and country music. Well, you like rap, but country music is cool, so you gotta be into country music? No, you don't have to be. Keep on going. Unless
you're like me and you like a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It's like you like something, but you can't like anime, but there's people who do.
Yeah. Like both. But it doesn't mean you have to be. Like,
oh my God. Wait, here's a perfect example. Star Wars versus Star Trek.
Yes.
There are people that love both, and there are groups that Star Trek hate Star Wars, and Star Wars hate Star Trek. And they will never fucking get along. It don't matter what you do. Me personally, I love both. There's people that don't like either.
Yes,
like,
and it's okay.
Okay, people a lot of people like Twilight. I am not a Twilight fan. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I am not. I don't get down with vampires sparkling in the sunlight. They're supposed to burn to a crisp.
Yes,
that's my opinion. But there's people that like shiny vampires, apparently.
Mhm.
Good on you. Those are the books and the movies for you.
Yes.
Okay. I'm the same way with a lot of different things. I mean, I like I'm not a big comedy fan, but I love the shit that goes bump in the night.
Hmm.
You know, I my preferred reading is shit like Edgar Allan Poe and R.A. Salvatore.
Mm.
I'm not trying to go read rainbows and polka dots. That's just not me.
So yeah, I just think everybody's just for those who are losing their jobs and you want to hit a certain market and your revenue, you gotta play to the larger portion of people, but then the people that are a smaller portion miss out. And for those people, I say there's always something else. There's always something out there. There's always someone that you will find someone that has similar interests in you, similar interests that you have, and they will make something for you, and that's okay to have that. But it's still sad to see people lose their jobs. I said before, those that do work in games and do 3D modeling, there's always other industries that you can go into, like making 3D models. I know a lot of people that are doing that right now. That are game developers. I see them on YouTube and I see them on Twitch, so they're out there. But it's still sad to see them doing that. But speaking of video games and not doing not okay and hitting or not hitting, missing the mark, huge time, big time. The new Assassin's Creed game Shadows came out this past week or so, and at first people were very upset that usually when they come out Assassin's Creed games, the people that they're playing are from that country, right? They're from that area. The Greek games had Greeks. The Egypt had Egypt. The people that are from
The Italian people had Italian
Italians.
people like Ezio.
Yeah. So now they finally got to Japan, a very beloved, very very nostalgic, and it's where kind of video games came about, really. And they decided to put a female character that doesn't quite look Japanese and a very historical character. I'm gonna butcher his name here, kind of, because his actual name is unknown. Yoshiki, which was a person that was found and enslaved in Japan, and Vinci got kind of recruited underneath a certain diplomat of Japan history, and he was described as a dark-skinned, very tall man, and became a retainer for this I can't say emperor, but this ruler of the time. And some
Shogun.
people, yeah,
Or
Shogun.
Shogunate.
Yeah, some people are upset because there's a lot of theories and historical things do not really show him as a samurai, right? First off, he was never stated as a samurai. Samurai was given to those of highest esteem, right? Trained in the martial arts for years, and then given the title of samurai, and they were protective. And this guy was very big, and he had, like you say, he was dark skinned, and according to historical speakings of him, there was never a statement that he was called a samurai. But
Right.
they put him in this game as to be a samurai. Full armor, weapons, so on, the full get-go. So some people were upset about that. I'm like, well, he was kind of underneath this guy, so he might have learned some martial arts. He might have learned some training. He might have been a samurai, but it was never truly stated, right? So, it's a video game. Fantasy be damned. Let's make him a samurai. But people were upset because, well, he's not Japanese, and this is a Japanese settings, and they couldn't have made a Japanese person to play the assassin. Nope. So okay, that's one miss. Check out the bad side. But then for streamers this past week, they sent the people that made Assassin's Creed sent off all these boxes, these little promotional things to a bunch of streamers, right? People
Right.
live in Japan. These people live, breathe their culture. And some of the writings on the box wasn't even Japanese, it was gibberish. And it tried to make it look like it was Japanese writing. And they're like, none of this makes sense. This is not Japanese. This is dog wash. Just nothing. And they're like, okay, you're gonna pander to us, right? You're gonna make a game about our country. You can at least get the writing right. You can at least do that. Nope, they couldn't do that. So it's like strike 2. And then strike 3, technically there's a strike 4 behind us. You know what they do when you play as the brother in the game and you go into combat? And you imagine you're in Japanese settings, right? And you go into combat. What kind of music do you think they'll play?
It should be something Asian based.
Yes. Okay, so Asian bass combat music. They started playing like rap R&B style music behind this brother. You know, there was no rapping though, but like it was like that high bump, like get that bass up, bro, like just get it kind of music. And like, because he's a brother, you did that? Boy, man, that's a little on nose on that one. It's like getting in your car with your best friend. He's a brother, and you go from country music, go straight to rap, and look at him. Like, it's good enough for you? It's like, don't do that.
Yeah, they lost the battle the moment they made the samurai a dark skinned fellow.
Yeah, okay. And so, go ahead, Sethly.
It's not that. It's not because they put him in there. That's not the issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's that once you put him in there was too many people that were gonna have opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's where they lost out.
you've got the dark skin group, and you got the Asian group. You got the dark skin group going, hell yeah, we got a brother in here and he's gonna whoop ass. And they're all excited. He's got the badass music and all this, and then you got the Asians going, that ain't the shit from our country.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Like, you're supposed to be representing us?
And then so they put themselves in the middle. This is the biggest strike. They put themselves between two cultures, and neither way they go can they win.
Uh-huh.
They're going to get fucked because you got Asians who's going to bitch that he's not Asian and it's not Asian based, and then you got the brother side that's going to say, okay, well, if you recant this shit, why you taking the black brother out? Why we got to be segregated like that? Why can't we go to Japan? Why can't we listen to our music in Japan?
Yeah.
What the fuck you trying to say? So they literally built a situation that no matter what they did, an entire race on one side or the other, or culture on one side or the other, was going to be ready to kick their ass.
Yeah, and of course, some people considering the word, again, I'm using this word a lot this stream, some people say it was pandering. And I'm like, I can see it. I can totally see it. It's like any other culture. There were a bunch of people from that culture. And the one time...
I mean, what I find funny is I could see them doing this purely out of this right here. And I'm not going to lie and say that if I wasn't a multi-million-dollar game corporation, then I wouldn't do this just because I finally have heard this one phrase enough.
Yeah.
Whitewash.
Mm-hmm.
They say, oh, everything we do is whitewash, right?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Ebony wash, motherfucker. Now what? Now what? Here's you something else to bitch about.
Okay.
You know? Now they're getting bitched at. But the thing is you watch, and it happens in anime too.
Mm-hmm.
There's animes that've been accused of being whitewashed when you literally watch the anime and it says, this guy's from Europe. This guy's from America. This guy's from here. Oh, well, it's an anime. It has to be Asian. That's not what the fucking character said. The character literally says, I hail from New York City. I'm in Japan because I was sent here on an exchange program.
Yes.
Now we're going to say that the Asian dude come from New York on an exchange program to an Asian country. That shit don't make no sense. So I'm at the point now.
Don't forget, it's the Asian people that are putting these people in the
I am right. So like the guy that made the manga, made the anime, chose to make this a white person from another country, and you're gonna tell him he whitewashed his anime?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So
I
okay.
mean,
So the bullet's down, and then here's the biggest kicker. Now, as you well know, I am not a historian by no means, right? I'm not. I just find the culture fascinating, and I did a little interesting reading of him before this game came out. Now I had to rekindle my information here because I was like, going okay. So this brother, this person that using historical reasoning, some historians say he's from. I'm gonna butcher this name, so I'm gonna put it in chat. You can maybe
Okay.
say a little better than I can. Give me a second here, because this might even be hard for you to say. Can you read that?
I don't see it yet.
Portuguese Megamadiku.
Portuguese Mozambique.
Portuguese Mozambique.
Okay, thank you. Which is
Mozambique is from actually Africa.
yeah.
Portuguese is because of the Portugal descendant that they went down there and they did their
Yeah.
shit,
So so that part is a part of Africa, right? But this part is where it get it. Though he was found in Japan and he was described as a dark-skinned brother that was very tall and very big, there's no historical records of him ever stating where he was from. And nor did they ever say that he was of African descent. They just theorized, since he was a tall, dark-skinned person, that he was immediately from Africa. Which,
I mean, he's from India.
yeah, he could have been from India. He could have been
Hell,
from.
there's some Asian countries that have tall, dark-skinned people as well. Hell, he could have still been Asian.
Yeah. So the whole they're basing this on people's idealism of what he was and not off of historical facts could have been all wrong in the first place. So maybe not a samurai and maybe not even black. So they're just like, hey, let's just shoehorn this in. He is now our brother, and he also he's a samurai. So it's like you can't base it off of historical facts. You gotta make you might as well put on there. It's fantasy. It's not fiction, right? Fiction is real. Fantasy is not, right? Make sure.
Fiction and fantasy are both fake.
Okay, well then it's fiction.
Non-fiction
Thank
is
you.
real.
So it's a fiction and it's a fantasy. Therefore, you cannot base it off of non-fiction. Sorry, I'm not very true in the vernacular in books. So you can't.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing. Did they ever state anywhere in the game that they were saying that this was a historically accurate code?
That's the part I don't know because I haven't played the game myself. But a lot of
They
people were
didn't
saying
say that it was based as a historically accurate character,
mm,
and all they said was this is based on a historical account. That doesn't mean they can't make all kind of fantastical twists to it.
yeah. So
that motherfucker could have been an Irish hobbit with a green hat.
so yeah, can you imagine? It's like they could have had it, had an ending music playing in the background.
True. She made the comment, take Izio.
Mm-hmm.
Just because Izio was in Italy and his mother and father was Italian, we don't know 100% that Izio wasn't adopted, that Izio was truly Italian. We don't know that. Hell, we don't know that if there was ever an Izio in life.
Yeah.
So it's a video game, people.
Yeah.
It's a fucking video game. At the end of the day, I'm not going to sit there and go, well, Bayonetta's not historically correct because this is how a witch was. You know how a witch was? You met them motherfuckers? Mm-hmm. Really?
So, so if I was developing this game, I would have did everything to avoid this kind of thing. Sometimes I think video game developers do this stuff on purpose to start animosity and vitriol. I would have made I'd have made
It's
both.
exactly what I said.
Mm.
They probably got tired of hearing that we're whitewashing this, we're whitewashing that, we're doing this, we're doing that, and they're like, you know what? If they're gonna bitch, they're gonna bitch. Let's give them something different to bitch about. At least we won't be hearing whitewash. Now we're ebony washing, or we're
Yeah.
fucking, you know, not historically accurate. They just get tired of hearing the same bitching.
Yeah.
And in reality, what people need to take away from it is same thing I say with movies, with games, with books, with anything. Unless you are the original creator of that character, you ain't got no fucking room to talk. You
Mm.
don't know what was in their mind when they created that character.
Mm.
It's that for all they know, that the guy that created that character said, you know, I kind of like this general backstory,
Mm.
but this is my character with a twist on that.
Mm.
And how you gonna tell him he's wrong? You gonna tell him that he can't have a black character, or you can't tell him he can't have a white character when he's creating it out of his head?
D&D.
I
Yeah.
mean, think about it when you're building your D&D character.
Yeah.
So you build Turk, and you decide that Turk's going to be a brown box turtle. He's based on a brown box turtle. And I
Mm.
say, no, you can't do that because that race has to be a snapping turtle. I can't tell you that shit. It's your character in your head.
Yeah. So so again, if I was making this game, if I was a part of it, I'd have made both of them Asian. And if someone said whitewashing, I wouldn't have cared. I'd have made sure the voice actors were Asian voice actors, right? Japanese voice actors, English and Japanese. And then I would have just made it where there's just like there's no historical character. This is all like made up. This like there's no person to connect it to.
I don't see a problem with it not being an Asian character as long as you give it a storyline that explains why the fucking character is in Asia.
Yeah.
In Japan or China, wherever you're basing it.
Well,
Okay.
this was feudal Japan, so
I mean, you can go and look at historical documents, even back to feudal Japan, and see that it wasn't every person wasn't Asian in Japan.
actually,
there were white people.
no, there was a creed that they released right around feudal Japan for 100 years. No person of any ethnicity could come into Japan.
That's true.
So,
That's true. But still, in their documents, that shit didn't hold up 100%. There
No.
were still white people, half breeds. They were still all kinds because they was sneaking that shit on the side. So you can't say that they weren't there because they fucking were.
yeah,
You know, there
so-
was plenty of half breeds where European soldiers held up in hidden places in Japan, and they got busy with some Japanese women, and now you have half breeds. Or you can't say just because they said this can't happen that it didn't happen, because
Yeah.
we all know that it still fucking happened. It was just kept to a minimum.
yeah, it was secretly. There was a lot of Christian groups that were in hiding. There was a lot of
Right.
I forget the other. Yeah, there was a lot of the hiding groups, and they could have had them as like maybe invaders or had your characters go hunt them down, because it was usually mostly going off of shoguns.
Even though they put that creed out, if I remember correctly,
Mhm.
there were still monasteries that took in white people that were left in Japan after that creed was set out, because they had no way home, and they still allowed them to live within the monastery, the confines of the monastery and shit.
Mhm. Yeah, they
That
were
shit
in
still
hiding.
happened.
It
That
was
shit still happened. So there's nobody that can say that he wasn't an African American child that was left and taken in by a monastery, and bam, now you have a reason to have a brother in Japan. Or
Yeah.
the same thing with a white guy, or same thing with a half breed, or same. It's back to it's a fucking game,
yeah.
people.
So
Somebody somewhere,
I can't hear her.
somewhere, somebody created this character in their head. They might have used a little bit of this as a basis,
Mm.
but it's still a fictional character they created. And if you have got the huevos to tell somebody that a character they created in their own head isn't right, you're a fucking moron.
Which makes me wonder, because I didn't play a lot of the other ones. I played the first one, and I played the pirate one for a little bit. Were any other games main characters, historical representative characters?
I can't remember, but I know because I only really played the ones that had Izio in it.
Yeah.
Because that was the only ones I gave a shit about.
So
I didn't care about being an assassin on the high seas.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
My
If
question.
I'm an assassin, I'm not on a boat. I'm in a fucking city murking people.
Yeah. So my
You
question
know?
would be, if the other games were never historical characters in any facet, why now?
Just be,
See, what you're misunderstanding though is there is historical stuff happening.
Yes.
right.
The
Just
characters.
because the character wasn't based in historical, but some of the events that they have to deal with were historical
That is
events.
what they're talking about. Like that. That's where they're going off of most of their history stuff.
Mhm.
Like for example, the Crusaders versus the Templars and all that shit. That happened.
Yeah.
That was what it was based on.
Yeah. And I don't know if they're
But
actually
they're
doing
adding the third faction, which is the Assassin's Creed,
the hidden people
for lack of a better
amongst them.
term, like the Masons or the Illuminati, for some of them.
Yeah.
That's what it's for. It's supposed to be just something like, okay, we also added to this conflict because of this.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, it may or may not have any basis in actuality.
Yeah.
They're showing you what actually happened. This is what we're gonna add because it's just fun.
At the end of the day, my personal opinion when it comes to a game, a book, or anything, any source of media is, I don't give a fuck what color they are, as long as they can act, play, or do the part and do it well. They can be any fucking color they want to be.
Yeah. I just I'm a mind of, if it fits right and it really fits in there, but if it's already good, also don't mess with it. But if it fits, go for it. But make sure if you're not trying to step on any toes or try to, again, don't pander to people, because people will call you out on that.
Right.
They just will. They call it hate if you want to.
They did a big old fuck up on
That was a big fuck up when they didn't even write actual characters on the box, right?
Mhm.
But I mean, there's ways they could have made him a brother and it been believable. They fucked up in the way they did. It's not really that they put a brother in that time. It's that they put a brother in that time, but they didn't make it believable.
Oh, but also, like, I'm not trying to hate on it, but Japan, I love your culture. If anybody's from Japan, don't get this wrong, but you do have some racist people there. You do. I know you do. So, like, people are like, oh, Japan's not racist. Yes, they are. They're as much as racist as anyone else. They're literally people that lived and born in Japan that are brothers and sisters, and they get hate all the time.
Yep.
So, and that goes for white people too. They don't like Americans all the time. So it is, there could be somewhat that factor. It's like, hey, where's our representative for Japan? In reality, it's more like, why do you have this dark skinned fella in our culture? That they have alternate reasons why they don't like them in their game.
Right.
So yeah, okay, but it's of course the last coup de grace for this. People are calling out that the entire development team. I'm literally looking at the picture of the entire development team for this game. There is not a single ethnicity person in this group, if that makes any sense. They're all white.
I don't think they ever thought it was gonna get as far as it did.
Yeah.
When you say ethnic, are you saying? I mean, are you talking about there's not a single Asian in the group?
Not a single Asian, brother, Indian. They're all white.
It started out as a white game. Let's be honest.
It's like, wow, you couldn't have somebody for their opinion. So,
for all we know, they might have consulted somebody.
Well, I hope they did.
But again, they're gonna have to put that proof out there. That's not me going like, oh yeah, no, they're gonna have to put out the proof that they did.
Mm-hmm. I'll laugh my ass off if they went to some big time prime minister of Japan and he's like, yeah, this is how this went. And then everybody's like, but oh shit.
Or just go to one historian, like one person's like, no, you might want to hit up like 5. Make sure the information is true, right? Or the accurate, not just one person. Make it 5. Cover your grounds, cover your ass. We talked to 5 different historians, people, and all of them agree.
Unless they had a tight budget.
Some people do for free. I would. I'm not a historian, but if I was, I'm like, I'll do it for free, sure. I'll give you my quick thoughts. Yeah, there's people on YouTube. Like, I don't even know Gaijin Goomba. He's He's a bit of a historian. Dude makes videos on these characters and on this historical backgrounds, all this stuff all the time. He loves it. He would have done it for free. I know that guy. He'd be like, "Hey, you want to put me in your game? Yes, I'll do it for free. Ask me."
But they probably are looking for accredited people. Notice what I said.
Well,
And
I
usually
don't
they
know if he
don't
went to
like to do
college or
that.
not, but he's never lived in Japan for a long time. But
Well, like I said, I wouldn't say that he doesn't know his shit.
Yeah.
He probably does. But there are people out there, let's be honest, they want that fucking paper.
yeah, that stupid freaking paper. Oh, this shows proof of what? You woke up in the morning, went to school. Congratulations. Did you pay attention? But
Exactly.
so yeah, I think the game looks cool. I think it looks interesting. I watched the anime where they had the same character in there. Yeah, again, the depiction is one thing, but it's about how
Right,
the game plays.
I'm not gonna say I'm not guilty of certain things too. Like I stopped playing God of War when when God of War left Greece.
Yeah.
Because Kratos anywhere other than Greece didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
You know, so not gonna say that there's not always gonna be opinions one way or another, but at the end of the day, you have to remember somebody created this character. It didn't all come from a history book. It come out of their head, and nobody has the right to tell somebody else that their creation is wrong.
Then again, good example for that there is like that was a brother that played literally a white Greek guy, and he did great. Like, dude nailed it. And I was like, when I first saw him, like, wait, he does that voice? God dang, I love that voice. Like I said before, some voice actors are just they're fucking great. I wish I could be one. Maybe someday. But apparently, my mom did send our channel to that one guy. I don't know if he's ever watched or he'll probably you probably say I'm not that good, but I don't care. I still find it fun. But if someone did hit me up, I do a thing for free. Just let me know and I'll play some background characters for a while until I get maybe a side characters one day. I never think I'm gonna be a main character. What? She say something?
No.
Oh. So, yep, that's it for this week. Corvo, do you have anything else you want to?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Well, I will see y'all later tomorrow. Again, I don't normally stream afterwards. Real quick, what's your thoughts on the Genshin Impact story? Have you got to play it yet?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Stealthy may have. No, she hasn't either. We've been busy with shit at the house and or
D&D. Well, I'm looking forward to that. If you're going to be catching that, that's going to be again on this Sunday at 5? 5?
Whatever time that we had last time.
Yeah, yeah, the time 5, because that's what your brother could do, right?
Well, we did 4 the first time, then we did 5 the second time.
The original time. Remember, we only did that because we were coming back.
Well, you did. It was 4 your time, 5 our time.
Yeah. So originally it was 4 my time, and then we moved to 5 last time. And
yeah, we're gonna go back to the original time, 4 your time, 5 mine. We only did that other one because of the scalloping trip.
Yeah. And of course it was Father's Day too, so weird day to drop that on, but hopefully everything going good. So you're gonna catch that. Be sure to catch that. Tomorrow we'll be playing some game. I'm probably gonna be the 100 Hero game again. And as always, have a good day, have a good night, have a good life. Much love, y'all.
Bye, guys.